All right. Welcome, everyone, to Tap TV. We are very excited to have you join us. And with us today, we have the amazing Jessica Hosch, who's here to talk to us about the law of attraction and being an entrepreneur and how the two mesh very well together. So we're really excited to have you on, Jessica. Thanks so much for being with us. And I'm just going to briefly introduce you real quick. So Jessica is a mom of two beautiful little boys, and she's an incredible entrepreneur, writer, author, woman extraordinaire. And I have a personal connection with her. I'm very blessed that she's actually family. She is my cousin. And so I've been blessed to know her over the years and gotten to know her even better as we've gotten to become adults and share a lot of the same interests. So I'm very honored to have you on today, Jessica. Thank you so much.
Aw, thank you. I know it's so fun now that we're adults. It's like a different dimension because I feel like when we were kids, you were on the older spectrum, like
Right.
cousins, and I was kind of the weird, not weird, but like I was in like the younger range compared to where you were at. So I always kind of like idolized you guys and just thought your older cousins were so cool. And now I feel like the playing field has evened.
Yes.
So that's really good.
Absolutely. And I've learned a lot from watching you over the last couple years, and you've been an incredible inspiration to me on how to balance motherhood, being an entrepreneur, and you're just doing it so gracefully and well. So, do you want to just start off telling us a little bit why you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh. Well, lots of reasons. So when entrepreneurship sort of entered my life, we were stuck between a rock and a hard place, I guess you could say. I had recently lost a job that we had felt sure would be a very stable thing. And my husband was going to school for something that would be great money, but he had zero passion for. And so when we found the company that we ended up partnering with, um, it just felt right. It was just kind of a match made in heaven. And not only did we really love the company, but just the structure of entrepreneurial business ventures and marketing and all of those things just really spoke to our strengths and the things that we were excited about. So that's kind of how I fell into it. And I think that it's something that speaks to a lot of people, especially in this day and age. It's a very up and coming or rapidly rising career choice is that of the entrepreneur.
Right. And it's so easily accessible now. It's amazing with the internet that we're connected worldwide and to take advantage of those opportunities. I like what you said about Josh not doing what he loved, like he wasn't passionate about it. I think that speaks to a lot of people. I heard on an article in Forbes magazine that 80% of people are stuck in jobs that they hate. It was actually the word was like hate.
Mm-hmm.
And that shocked
That's a
me.
good description for it. Yeah.
Yeah. 80% of us are out there doing things we don't love. And to me, that's a tragedy. Um, I was fighting breast cancer, and I just had a huge wake up call that life is too short to spend it doing things you don't love. So I think you guys are incredible examples of doing that, of finding what you love and sticking with it, regardless of what the naysayers say.
Yes, and it's scary. I mean, when he was going to school for a very stable, very financially, you know, abundant career choice, he was going into pharmacy, and everyone in our family and close friends were very supportive of that, very excited about that for us. And it's funny when we kind of flipped the switch and decided to really dive all in and be entrepreneurs, how people were very scared for us and kind of looked at us like maybe we were a little bit crazy. But doing that felt so much more right than the more structured, sure thing that we had been pursuing before. And that's not to down college or education or anything. I think that stuff is very important. I mean, we're saving for our kids so they can go to college, but there's also a point where you have to decide where are your strengths and where is your passion, and what do you have to offer the world, and on what platform can that best be served. So I mean, that's something that I hope everyone has the time in their lives to take and ponder and apply.
Yeah, exactly. Now, on TAP TV, we talk a lot about abundance, and that's the Abundancy Project. That's what we're all about. And I know that that is what you guys are working towards, and you've shifted your mindset from more like scarcity, lack towards abundance. So just tell me a little bit about that. Like, what does abundance mean to you, and how have you felt that shift impact your life?
Oh my gosh. Well, abundance. I was actually listening to a little podcast this morning and talking about that. I took a couple of notes. The thing about abundance is when you break it down to the most raw point, it's just zero lack, right? Nothing's lacking. And so for me, that means, okay, hair in my mouth. If something is dreamable, then it's doable. And I know that to many that may seem a little naive, but I feel like abundance is more than just lots of things, lots of money, lots of time. That's part of it. But it's really just a change in your attitude and opening up your mind and seeing the world for its abundance that's already there, right? It's kind of like, I think a lot about like the weather. When you see the weather forecast, you haven't always seen what's there yet and what's coming or what's even around you at that current moment. But once you receive that information, you can look out the window and be like, oh, it is blah, 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 blah. So in that way, I feel like that's how abundance operates. Is you just need to get that information, get that understanding into your head, and then all of a sudden, everything that was already there is just made so readily available to you in such mass quantities. Anyways, that's kind of how I feel about abundance. I just think that it's a matter of accepting the truth.
That is a great analogy. I think that helps explain it and crystallize it a little better for me. Now, here's kind of like, let's bring it into practical terms, if you don't mind going this way with me. So let's say that I'm working to have abundance, and then I look at my bank account, and my bank account is not showing what I would consider abundance. It's showing, potentially less money than there is month, more bills than there is money. So how can someone in that kind of situation, and I've been there, and I'm sure you've been there too, like, how do you look at that reality, right? But determine, instead of looking at the lack, coming at it from a place of abundance?
Yes, that's an awesome question. So I think that it's a matter of looking past the physical and seeing what potential is there. And I think everyone can relate to that situation. I don't think I've ever met a person who's never been through some kind of even slight financial struggle. I think that for me, especially on a very personal to my memory, is I remember a day that I was looking at our bank account and it was really low and I knew bills were coming up, and I had that impulse to be like, oh, we don't have enough. And where is this money going to come from? And all of a sudden it was like, I looked out the window and I heard the forecast and I was like, oh, you know what? I have this that I can sell. I have this that, this business deal that we're closing. I have this book deal that, whatever. So instead of looking for what is physically in front of you, look for the things that are manifesting into your life and see the abundance there, see the possibility, and attach yourself to the possibility. Don't attach yourself to the present or to the past and let yourself just be there, because there's no growth in that. And there's definitely no abundance in that. There's a lot of abundance, though, in really emotionally, very viscerally attaching yourself to the potential and the possibilities, and in your mind solidifying that as what is real. And I found that 10 out of 10 times that will bring the abundance that you're searching for into your life.
Wow. Excellent. I'm definitely going to apply that myself. So let's talk about the difference between like financial freedom and earned income. Earned income is like what you make for the time that you give versus financial freedom. What does financial freedom mean to you? And is it something that we should encourage people to kind of go for?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Everyone should go for financial freedom. Of course. It's like one of the best forms of abundance that we can achieve, I think, on this planet. And there's a book called The Science of Growing Rich by Wallace Wattles, and there's a quote in it, and he says something along the lines of, the very best thing that you can do for the world is offer the most of yourself, or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's how I feel about finances, about money, right? Because to me, money is not a destination. Wealth and financial freedom, it's not a destination, it's just a tool. And it just opens up a new way of existence. And so everyone on this earth has some kind of talent, some kind of innate thing to offer. And some of us are lucky enough to be born into situations where automatically we're in an environment that we can take that and run with it. Not everybody is so fortunate. And so I feel that when we are able to get ourselves into a position where we really do have the time and finances to explore that, the world just becomes automatically a better place, right? Mm-hmm. Because we are in a situation where we really have the resources to offer up the most of what we have as individuals to give. And so in that sense, I think that whatever ugly connotation I know a lot of people carry with wealth, that it's selfish or overindulgent, I think quite the opposite. I think that if you're accumulating wealth and doing it successfully and in a steady way, you're maintaining those results, it must mean that you're tapping into the right things and that you're using the right resources within yourself. So it's an amplification of what is already within you. So yes.
Beautifully put. An amplification of what's already in us. I really like that. Yes, and as you said, wealth, money itself is just neutral. I've come to realize that all the connotations that we put to it is just that. It's our own connotations. Money is just a tool. It's neutral. It can be used to help or to hurt, etc., etc. Thank you for sharing that. Now, we're both moms, and that kind of makes things a little bit different for us. We've both chosen to stay at home with our children for the most part. So how do you kind of balance being a mom and creating financial freedom and being an entrepreneur?
Ugh. Is there ever going to be a day that I feel like I fully have that down? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, the ultimate balance is I'm able to balance myself when I think of what am I teaching my children. Because I'm at home with them, but I also need to set aside time to work. And I remember at the beginning, I would feel so guilty for plopping down in front of my laptop while I, threw them in front of a movie or put them in their room with some toys. And I felt that pull to be with them and felt like I was neglecting them. But you know what? They're seeing an example of their mom going after something that is important, not only to me, but to the people that my work is affecting. And so I want my children to grow up knowing that they can do that they can do whatever they want to do, and that they don't have to use things as an excuse. I would never want them to feel like they were my excuse for not offering my best. And even my 3-year-old, he's so young, but it is starting to rub off on him, and he's very confident. And I've seen him approach situations where he's like, I don't know if I can do that. And then he'll turn around and say, yes, I can. And so to me, that's the ultimate way that you can maybe gauge. It's going to be different for every parent, mom, dad, whatever. But think about the lessons that you're subliminally giving to your children, and know that it is possible to balance it. I don't think that there's any one schedule that will be one size fits all and tack it up on the wall. But just keep in mind what you're building, what kind of a legacy that you're leaving for your children.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Now, can you give us kind of a story or an example from your own life that you'd be willing to share with us? An example of maybe a time when you lived before you had these laws. We call them laws of success, laws of abundance. Illustrate a time before that and then a time now. Maybe a situation that you would have handled differently now that you have these laws. If you could share something like that with us, that would be really great.
Oh, there's so many. Well, let's go to before first. So the first year of our marriage, my husband and I worked alternating schedules to kind of save whatever money that we could. And my first child, I love him, but he was definitely not planned. We weren't really expecting a baby that soon. Um, and so at the time, I remember just being early married, wanting to be with my husband, pregnant, not feeling well, and never seeing each other. He would get up at 6 a.m., work until 4:30, and then my shift where I worked would start at 5, and I'd be there till about 11 o'clock at night. So we would just see each other in passing, and that went on for 2 years. I want to say the first 2 years of our marriage, and I just remember everyone would congratulate us, like, "Oh, you guys are working so hard. Josh is gonna, be a great pharmacist. You guys are really setting yourselves up for success." Is what everybody was saying. You guys are going to be so successful. It did not feel like that.
Yeah.
It did not feel like success. I felt like I was failing on every level, and I couldn't figure out why I was feeling that way when I agreed that on paper we were doing everything right. So that was the before. Afterwards, now I see Josh every day, several hours every day. We almost always have full evenings together. We have full weekends together. Sometimes we have 3-day weekends where it's just us and the kids, and that did not happen before. And even though this path of entrepreneurship and whatnot is something that our closer friends and family don't all understand, not that they're unkind about it. I mean, they're doing their best to support us and understand, but there's not that assurance that they have about, like, oh, what are they doing? But Josh and I, this feels good. It feels good. It feels like we are succeeding. This is what success feels like to me. And I think it's just something that maybe you don't know until you hit it. And so anyone who's watching, I would just encourage, if you do feel that lack somewhere, that lack of abundance, whether it's just in your own skin or in your environment, your pursuits, just reflect into as way that might be, and be open to whatever inspiration comes to you. A lot of times that inspiration is going to come in ways that you're like, universe, say what? But just run with it, because your gut's going to lead you where you need to go.
Great advice. I really love studying Robin Sharma. I'm not sure those who are familiar with him, but he was a major lawyer. He followed the path of success, kind of similar to what you and Josh were doing. And then he just had this huge wake-up call one day, and he's like, I am miserable. I have all this money. I have these fancy cars. I have this great career, but I am not fulfilled. And he made like a 180-degree turn in his life and chose to get into self-development. And he's now a coach and a mentor. And I admire him for that. He wrote a book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, kind of illustrating his shift in mindset. And I just think that story, and combined with yours, like, illustrates that you can have all the worldly success on the outside, but if you don't feel it inside, like what you said, then it's not really success. Because true success is happiness, fulfillment, contentment within your own being. And that comes from being in love with your life's work. And I know that you're just in love with your life's work. You're on that path. And when you're on that path, it comes to you. It doesn't come automatically, but it definitely comes in its own time.
Yes.
So
that's so true. And I love his story. Yeah, I've read a couple of his books, and he's so great. And his story really speaks to me, because I mean, even if you want to get even more specific, there was an evening, Josh had just taken the PCAT, his first round taking the PCAT, like the entry test for pharmacy school. And he came home from it and was, oh, I wonder how I did. We kind of sat there speculating about the future, and just like he describes, I had this snapshot in my head of a beautiful house, the kids going to nice schools, all of these things. And I looked at that snapshot expecting to feel satisfied and like, oh, that's where we're headed. And I just felt empty. Felt empty looking at that picture. And now I look into my future and I see a lot of the same things, a nice house, kids going to great schools, beautiful location where we're living, all that stuff. But it's all about the path that you take to get there. And are you neglecting your calling, or are you just taking, the tried and true because it's a little less it doesn't stretch you as much. And sometimes that's easier path to take, less scary.
Right.
Be scared. It's okay to be scared.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And so what would you recommend for someone who's looking to get started with abundance and these laws of success? Like, what kind of resources would you recommend to kind of get them going?
Oh my gosh. Find mentors that you can physically put yourself around is number one, because reading books and podcasts and listening to speakers and going to events, that's awesome. Do those things, but it's so important to have someone that can be physically close to you. They say that, you start reflecting similar lifestyles of the 5 or 10 people you spend the most time around.
Right.
So make sure the people that you're spending time around are the people that you wouldn't mind stepping into their life, So that's number one for me, is find a mentor, even if it's somebody that you can just FaceTime every day. If there's no one in your area, like, reach out, be bold, don't feel awkward, just find someone that you resonate with and talk to them. And then as far as just materials, just go to Barnes & Noble and pull out books that speak to you. Personal development, honestly, is just 90% of the battle. That's most of what it takes, truly. But the first 4 or 5 books that I started out with that were hugely influential, still really influential to me, are The 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Start With Why by Simon Sinek. The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks. Think and Grow Rich. Everyone should read that one.
Absolutely.
And The Science of Growing Rich, Wallace Wattles, all really good ones. And find podcasts too. Podcasts are great. You can plug them in when you're out and about, working out, cleaning the house, whatever. Those are a really great way to stay plugged in if you're not a hard copy book kind of person. So
absolutely.
Yes.
There's a wealth of information for sure. And I'm just going to give a plug to our own channel here for those getting started. Check in with us here on Tap TV. We're going to continue to bring you valuable information and just give the very best of what we have to you. So thank you so much, Jessica. I really appreciate your time today. You gave us some wonderful examples, and I just appreciate your light and your wisdom and your beauty. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
So, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. For those listening, if you would just leave a comment below on what you found helpful from Jessica today, and if you have any questions for her, we would be happy to follow up with you. So thank you for watching, and feel free to share this with your friends. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye.